The 2024 MLB season just kicked off. What are the biggest storylines? What do the divisions look like? And who are three underrated performers from this past weekend? Find out the answers and stay till the end in this episode of Blake Around the Bases.
A 40-70 season. Leaps. No hitter for Framber Valdez. Down goes Anderson. It's a cycle.
With America's pastime officially back, we already have a tremendous amount of storylines, some positive and some negative. So let's talk about the three biggest storylines from this opening weekend. And starting off, we're going to go with the negative. It's got to be injuries. So far, we have seen a lot of big time names already head to the IL this season, starting from day one with Justin Steele, who attempted to field a grounder against the Texas Rangers, and he appeared to hurt his leg on the ground ball. It was later revealed after he came out of the game that he suffered a grade 1 hamstring strain, which is some of the better news for the Cubs, considering that this is their ace and this is going to be the pitcher who they are going to rely on all season, along with guys like Imanaga, who just shoved recently, and some others. Justin Steele is their ace. The Cubs, of course, in that very questionable NL Central where anyone can win it. So losing your ace until May is definitely going to hurt. Not an estimated return date from manager Craig Counsell. He just said sometime in May. Heading over to the NL, Royce Lewis suffered a severe quad strain game one as well after rounding the bases on a hit. And this was in a performance where he was doing really good. He had already had that hit that he got injured on. He had a homer, a very nice homer on a very nice pitch. He's, like I said, suffered a severe quad strain, so he will be reevaluated in May, and he's one of their best players as well. And also an AL Central that is up in the air where anyone can win, and the Twins have one of the best chances to win. So being without one of their stars now will hurt. Sean Murphy from the Atlanta Braves, the catcher, suffered a left oblique injury on a swing that he just kind of tweaked that oblique. So he will be out for what the Braves call a substantial amount of time. Probably the worst one happened before the game even started, and this was in Cincinnati. Nick Senzel, who was a former Red, was slated to be the opening day third baseman for his new team, the Washington Nationals. There was a lot of hopes for Senzel this season from the Nationals, from Reds fans, to see if he can revitalize his career. He was injured a lot in Cincinnati and missed a lot of time. So he gets a 1-year deal, a 1-year prove-it deal with Washington. And during pregame warmups, he ends up breaking his right thumb trying to field a ground ball. The hostility is back with baseball. One of the glorious things is, people care and people like to compete. And we've already had two noticeable interactions of benches clearing. The first started in Flushing with a familiar name against the Mets, Rhys Hoskins. You'll see the clip right here, obviously, turning the double play. Jeff McNeil, the Mets starting baseman, gets slid into by Rhys Hoskins. And obviously, McNeil took offense to it, started shouting at him, and Hoskins got up, retaliated in his face. No shoving or anything, no fighting, no punches thrown, but that obviously was not favorable towards the middle. I felt like the slide itself was one of the more clean ones. Rhys Hoskins actually looked at McNeil, did a little crybaby motion. I found that hilarious. But like I said, Hoskins has had the Mets have had their problems with Hoskins before. And finally, the last one, we got Genesis Cabrera and Jose Caballero from the Blue Jays and Rays. In one of their games, there was a play at third. Caballero was tagged out, I believe, and he kind of ran into Cabrera, who was a starting pitcher, one of their relievers, one of their better relievers for the Blue Jays. And Cabrera kind of got in Caballero's face. They exchanged some words, and then Cabrera actually shoved Caballero, and so he was ejected. I don't really know what to take of this one. I don't really see, I mean, he was just trying to slow himself down and just ran into Cabrera. I don't feel that it as intentional, but obviously Cabrera did. So they were suspended each a game, but they have appealed, or he was suspended a game. Going back to Hoskins, they threw at him the next game, so that pitcher was also suspended. That also brought out the benches. So two in that. Final storyline I want to look at is two teams that really had strong showings from opening weekend, one from the AL, one from the NL. We'll start with the NL. The Pittsburgh Pirates absolutely dog walked the Miami Marlins all series. They scored 39 runs, or they've scored 39 runs to start the season. That's third best. They have a 302 average. That's also third best. And the Pirates have a lot of players who need to play well, playing well right now. Ke'Bryan Hayes is almost batting 400 with 5 RBIs. Brian Reynolds, who I called an all-star lock in the outfield for the NL. He's batting 333 with 8 RBIs, and then O'Neal Cruz finally healthy, which a lot of Pirates fans are thanking for. A lot of other NL Central fans are not. Cruz is batting 316. He had a homer, looked nice. Looked like he barely swung. So pitching wise, the Pirates are doing their job. They have a .208 average against, that's sixth. And one of their better performances was a guy that I looked at last video, excuse me, in the first episode of Blake Around the Bases for my 3 underrated rookies, and that was Jared Jones. Jones pitched his major league debut against the Marlins. He went 5 2/3 with 3 earned runs in K10. He looked absolutely amazing. And like I said in that video with Mitch Keller, still as their ace, Marco Gonzalez also up there. And then eventually the coming of Paul Skeens. Jones will fit nicely in that rotation, and the Pirates can seriously make some noise. Like I said, in an NL Central where anyone top to bottom can win it at this point. And for the NL, the Detroit Tigers. A lot of people were high on the Tigers. Like I said, I was. Again, that division doesn't really have a clear favorite. So again, anyone top to bottom can win that as long as they're some teams figure it out. The Tigers had a really impressive showing. Tarek Skubal and Jack Flaherty combined on the opening weekend for 12 innings pitched, 1 earned run, and 13 Ks. Carson Kelly is batting 444 with 5 RBIs and a 1.278 OPS. And then they have some other guys like Kerry Carpenter, Gio Urshela, Carson Kelly being clutch in those first few games. So those are two teams that had one of the strongest and most eye-opening showcases for opening weekend. So let's go around each division and kind of look around the board, see who's where, and see what I think about them. So we'll start in the AL Central. Obviously, like I said, the Tigers. And these are the standings as of April 2nd when I'm recording this video. So that will be today. I know some games are going on, but this is as of before the games on April 2nd. So in the AL Central, the Tigers are leading at 4-1, followed by the Twins at 2-1, the Guardians at 3-2, the Royals at 1-3, and the White Sox at 0-4. So really quickly, I expected, like I said, the Guardians, I actually picked them to win the division. The Twins are up there, which I kind of felt happen again. The Tigers, surprising a lot of people. They can very well be in contention. The Royals, at 1-3 isn't that alarming. I figured they would be a little bit better, but they're still playing a lot. They have a lot of young pieces, along with some old pieces as well. And Salvador Perez, really the main grandpa on that team. But Bobby Witt Jr. Almost hit for the cycle a few days ago, so that was nice. Again, this is a division where any one of these teams, maybe except the White Sox, because they're not that good, and didn't look good at all the first opening weekend against the Tigers. But yeah, the Tigers, Twins, Guardians, Royals, expect those four to be the top four teams. And again, like I said, they can finish in any order. In the AL East, the Yankees, who I called a pretender in last video, stand atop at 5-0 with the Baltimore Orioles at 3-1. Boston Red Sox having a nice comeback at 3-2, and then the Blue Jays and the Rays tied at 2-3. They played each other in opening day. The Yankees obviously surprised me. I thought Houston was gonna at least take a game or two, but no, they ended up getting the sweep. The Orioles did drop a game to the Angels, I believe. But I think they'll be fine. Obviously, I think they're the favorite in that division. They're my pick in that division. Grayson Rodriguez, who I'll touch on later, and Corbin Burns is a great 1-2 punch. Adley, obviously, Cedric Mullins, Ryan Mountcastle, Anthony Santander, Gunnar Henderson, who went yard on opening day. They're going to be solid. The Red Sox, Cedane Rafaela was another rookie who a lot of people were excited about. He's doing pretty good. Devers as well. So they're in there for contention. The Blue Jays and Rays, like I said, they played each other. I thought maybe the Rays would win more games, but obviously not. So I think this could be an interesting division as well. In the AL West, the Rangers at 3-1, Mariners at 3-2, the Los Angeles Angels at 2-2, and then tied with the Oakland Athletics at 1-4 is the Houston Astros. And in my latest article, which was also biggest storylines, they obviously got swept by the Yankees, but then bounced back yesterday, April 1st, and threw a no-hitter against the Blue Jays. So maybe I was wrong about that. I'm not 100% sure. But great outing from there. They had a lot of good offense. Altuve has been decent to start the year. But some stars like Bregman and Yordan Alvarez started opening weekend not doing so great. Yanier Diaz was another one. So obviously expect the Astros to move up the rankings a ton, at least past the Angels and the Athletics. I'm not even going to touch on the Athletics. For the Angels, Mike Trout's back. He had a 2-home run day yesterday. He had a bomb on opening day. So it's good to see him playing well, but obviously the loss of Shohei Ohtani is going to affect them completely. So again, Rangers, Astros, I expect to be 1-2. The Mariners are a sneaky team. They dropped a game against the Red Sox, but they should be good. They have a decent enough team. Moving over to the NL, we have the NL Central. Again, another division where anyone from top to bottom can end up taking the division crown. The Pirates stand atop at 5-0. The Brewers 3-0 after their sweep against the Mets. The Reds sit at 3-1 after just taking the first game due to Spencer Steer's dominance in late inning heroics against the Phillies. So they sit at 3-1. They did drop that second game to the Nationals. The Cubs at 2-2 and the Cardinals at 2-3. Obviously, the shocker here, Pirates at 5-0. Again, a lot of people like the Tigers were high on the Pirates. I was not one. I wanted to see how this team showed out the first weekend. I thought the Marlins were going to win the series. Obviously, they didn't. So the Pirates may be back, and I know that's good news to our guy Michael Seitz here at TWSN. I know he's excited. The Brewers at 3-0 obviously don't look like they're affected that much by Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff being gone. Yelich has started off the year super hot for the Reds. Obviously, the Rally Reds are back. They came back game 3 against the Nationals with 2 back-to-back homers from Benson and Encarnacion Strand to win the series. And then Steer, like I said last week, or yesterday, excuse me, game-winning grand slam against the Phillies. There is some bullpen questions still for this team. Alexis Diaz blew game 2, came back in game 1 against the Phillies yesterday, did really good. There still going to be a lot of questions about this team. Ellie has been playing pretty decent. The strikeouts, which I said were going to be a problem in a previous video, have been relevant again. I think he just needs more, again, just more time, more comfortability. They're batting him 6th when they were supposed to bat him 2nd, so I don't know what David Bell's doing there. Cubs and Cardinals, again, kind of the two at the bottom. Again, these teams can go over 500, below 500. I don't really have anything to say about them. Like I said, Shota Imanaga, it really impressed me and a lot of people yesterday with his first start in the major leagues. And then the Cardinals, obviously, with a retirement home lineup, have won a couple games, but nothing much really there. So expect some more movement in this division. In the East, obviously the Braves sit atop at 3-1, and then from there it just drops off significantly. The Phillies at 1-3, the Nationals at 1-3, the Mets 0-4, and the Marlins 0-5. The Marlins not good. Pretty much all I gotta say about that. The Mets obviously have the foundations to be a good team, just obviously not showing it. Again, got swept by the Brewers opening week. Um, so they're there. The Nationals picked up a game against the Reds, like I said, so that was good for them. Very young team, very um, again, they're the Nationals. I don't know really what to say. The Phillies, obviously, they should be fine. They should get a wild card spot in these playoffs. But starting off 1-3, obviously they played the Braves in the opening series, so that's always not the easiest thing to do, but they did pick up a game there. And then obviously the Braves again, they're going to win the division. They're going to probably make it at least to the ALCS because they're probably going to be the 1 seed, 1 or 2 seed, make it to the ALDS. So there's that. In a West, finally, last division, the Dodgers at 5-2, like everyone expected. The D-backs at 3-2, the Padres 3-4, and this is where the division kind of gets interesting with these teams that are second, third, and fourth. So, like I said, the Diamondbacks at 3-2, the Padres at 3-4, and the Giants at 2-3. Giants and Padres faced off against each other. Um, took some games from each other on that series. The Rockies exist at 5. They were absolutely dog walked by the Diamondbacks opening series, including giving up 13 runs in 1 inning. So not going to touch on them. The Dodgers, obviously 5-2. Mookie Betts MVP agenda, hammer it. It is going phenomenal. He's my pick for the NL MVP, and he's showing it now. He's one of the best players in the league, and then obviously Shohei Ohtani, who has had a little bit of a struggle, but I think he'll be fine. Obviously, he is Shohei Ohtani. The Diamondbacks 3-2. Again, another sneaky wild card contender as well with the Padres and the Giants. This NL West, I wrote in an article before, it could end up being the best division in baseball just from these 4 teams alone. And finally, who had the most underrated performances of opening weekend? I mentioned this guy earlier, but the first one is Grayson Rodriguez, pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles. In 2023, he had 23 games started with a 4.35 ERA and a 1.336 WHIP. Rodriguez was a very highly touted prospect coming up when they drafted him. And he had his struggles last season, and he's trusted more this year. In his first start against the Angels, he went 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 4 hits, and 9 Ks. Really impressive outing. He should be the second option behind, obviously, Corbin Burns, who's my pick to win the AL Cy Young. Burns also lit it up, so that's a dominant 1-2 punch for them. And this is what this Orioles team needs is they need productive pitching. This is what killed them in the playoffs last year against the Rangers. It fell through the pitching. Their offense, fine. Adley, like I said, Santander, Mountcastle, Henderson, when Jackson Holiday returns, their lineup is fine. There's no problems with the lineup. It's just as long as they have solid pitching, this team can make a very far run in the playoffs. They're going to win over 100 games again, I feel. So just getting these pitching down, especially from these younger prospects, especially since they traded a lot more for Corbin Burns. Burns will be fine. So it's just that 2 through 5 pieces of the rotation that need to step up. And obviously, from day one, Grayson Rodriguez showing like he can be that person. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. for the Diamondbacks, he is a very key piece of that team, the team that made the World Series last year. He was one of the biggest reasons they got them there. Opening series against the Rockies, he was outstanding. 8 for 17. That's a 470 average, 10 RBIs, and 3 homers. 2023, he had a .261, 309, 463 slash line. So again, there was a lot of good pieces on those teams. Obviously, the rookie of the year and Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, who's one of the better second basemen in the league, very versatile. There's a lot on that team, and they went out and got a lot. So the importance of Lourdes Gurriel Jr., for this team is important. And again, they were playing the Rockies. They gave up 13 in one inning. I know, what's the big deal? Big deal. Well, they're still major leaguers, the Rockies members, as well as the Athletics, any team. They're in the majors for a reason. So they're obviously talented enough. So to see Gurriel start like this is a big sign for the Diamondbacks. And he should be one of the pieces that returns them back to the off season or the postseason, excuse me. And then finally, the third underrated opening weekend day performance, we're going to go back to Cincinnati, and it's going to be Nick Martini. Game one started the season off hot, went 2 for 4 with 5 RBIs, a 2-run homer in the second, and a 3-run homer in the third, both off of national starter Josiah Gray. Game two, he came in the bottom of the eighth for a 2-run pitch hit and double to take a 6-4 lead. Again, that is the game that the Reds blew, so they got that back. Keibert Ruiz hit a homer in that one. Abrams impressed a lot. And then game three, he went 1 for 3. So he's starting off this season batting exactly 500 with 7 RBIs, which is 6 in the MLB, 2 homers and a 1.931 OPS. And this is a guy who has never been on an opening day roster. This was game one of this season was the first time Nicholas Martini was ever on the opening day roster. He's been on 5 teams in his 8-year career. The Cubs, Padres, the Reds, obviously the last 2 years, including he in 2022, he spent the season in Korea with the NC Dinos. So this is a guy who's a little bit of a journeyman. He's 33 years old, but he's showing that he can be productive. Obviously, a killer left-handed bat that can be used as a DH, as a pitch hitter. He showed both. So that is going to do it for this episode of Blake Around the Bases. Thank you all for watching. Like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss anything, any video from the amazing people at TWSN. And ask yourself these questions. Did you find anything wrong with the Hoskins slide? What do you think of the Tigers starting 4-0, the Pirates starting 5-0, the Astros starting 1-4? Drop your responses in the comments. I will be replying to every single comment on this video and the later segments posted. I will respond to all of those. I love to have discussions with the viewers. So go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments and you will get a reply from me. Like I said, like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. I'm Blake Flynn. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.